Good evening. I would like to welcome you to Transgender Day of Remembrance 2021. I am Elliot Duvall, for those who don't know me. I'm the person behind the scenes of Trans London. Tonight we remember the lives lost to violence in our community. Every year we have numbers in the hundreds that have been reported as killed from around the world, with many more that have never been reported. Unfortunately, we have no numbers this year from around the world. I am guessing due to COVID. So this year, when we light our candle, we'll remember all of those whose names are read tonight, and so many more whose names have been silenced. And now, the director of PFLAG, Krista Duvall, would like to say a few words.
Hi, my name is Krista Duvall, and I am the chapter director for PFLAG London. I'm joining you today in solidarity as an ally to the trans community. TDOR is a day that I hold sacred on my calendar. Being the wife of a trans man and the daughter of a trans woman, I can honestly say not a day goes by that I don't fear for my loved one's safety. I say this with all the privilege, knowing that both are fortunate enough to live in Canada and that both are white. Trans violence inordinately affects trans women of color, women who just want the freedom to be themselves, to love and live authentically. This year, on our list, we see a growing number of murders of both trans men and non-binary folks. These statistics are both frightening, but not surprising. We meet each November 20th, and we remark that hopefully this year will be the last TDOR Memorial. Each year, we hope that the next 12 months will be peaceful, loving, and accepting of those in the trans community. Sadly, we've been repeating those same words for 22 years. I take my role as an ally seriously. I speak out loudly against transphobia, calling people out, including family and close friends. I've removed those same people from my life. This year, I encourage all allies to use the word ally as a verb. Don't just say you're an ally, but do the work. Show up for the trans community and be loud. There's a saying that you die twice, the day you're put in the grave and the day that people stop saying your name. Remember these names, keep repeating them. Don't let hate, bigotry, and transphobia win. Thank you very much. Have a good night.
Thank you for being a part of this year's Transgender Day of Remembrance commemoration, and my sincere gratitude to Trans London for organizing this memorial, once again virtual due to our ongoing pandemic challenge. May we soon be able to support each other in person. My sincere thanks too for inviting me to participate. I'm going to perform a poem of mine called Pink Triangle, a piece that is very close to my heart and concerns an almost unknown part of our history. It is one section, the 11th, out of a cycle of 17 poems called Auschwitz Threnody. This cycle is my belated response to having experienced that infamous place back in 2005, several years before I started to understand my identity as a transgender woman. Pink Triangle itself has been published in the Belleville Review. All of the pieces in the full Threnody are based on things I saw, and for this section, the jumping off point was a display of the infamous Nazi classification scheme for prisoners that utilized colored triangles. The use of a pink triangle to mark out gay men is fairly well known, but almost unknown is that trans women, as we would call them now, were caught up to, and that Nazi rule was the end of a real flowering for trans people that took place between the wars in Weimar Germany. This is a somewhat intense piece, as you might expect, but it contains themes that tie directly to our modern TDOR, including memorializing victims who should not be forgotten. Auschwitz Threnody, Pink Triangle. A sneering, macabre ostinato grounding the entire horror-sonant din, Nazi mania for speciation of the condemned, rooted in the infamous yellow star, branding as accursed and ancient faith, culture, and tradition. Here in Auschwitz, the star modulates to a clamorous fugue of triangles: green for professional criminals, black a grab bag labeled asocial, swallowing up the Roma, sex workers, the homeless, and more; red for political prisoners, purple signifying Jehovah's Witnesses, yellow for the Jewish people, overlaid with another triangulated color to achieve the mandated star. But there, one more theme weaving in, plaintive and forlorn: the pink triangle, mocking label dominated by men condemned only for loving other men, but slipping into the silences, also condemned for their inner flames, my sisterhood, female spirits tearing at contrary shrouding male shells. Blessed to be born in a different time and place, now transitioned from Jeffrey to Jennifer, my newly integrated mind's eye sees Chamber Jeff myopically scan the display case and pass on. Jennifer from her subconscious prison, insistently importuning but heard as just a mysterious, fleeting susurration. Miles and milestones later, my memories are remade, imbued with new meaning, and pen in hand I spiral through that pink triangle, tripping over the decades to the 20s of another century, an entr'acte between violent cataclysms and wondering, what if this was my time? What would I have been? Most places, a tormented butterfly locked in imperishable masculine amber, tagged pervert, insane, degenerate, never to feel the sun or hear my wings whisper on the wind. But Weimar period Germany, the Great War then a nightmare past, Hitler a distant rumble expected to fade, daring, decadent, doomed Weimar, its beating heart at blazing Berlin, an ephemeral, roiling crucible, a time of Bauhaus, Albert Einstein, and Thomas Mann, Brecht and Weil's Threepenny Opera, Marlene Dietrich and the Blue Angel, prostitution, drugs, and the black market, wildly uninhibited cabarets, and much, much more, a tumultuous symphony spacious enough for even my pioneering sisters to have a part, tremulous but growing, permits to publicly present our true selves, Magnus Hirschfeld's Research and Medical Institute, our own magazines and nightclubs headlined by the infamous Amazing El Dorado, above all being seen and heard, casting off shame and having community. Maybe there I could have shattered the unyielding chrysalis and found my voice. Then the clanging chimes at midnight proclaimed onslaught of the Hakenkreuz and its minions. Diversity now deemed noxious plague. The entire pink cohort, gay and trans in modern terms, repudiated by families and former friends, pilloried, hounded, step by step, books burned, Hirschfeld's Institute torched, El Dorado perverted to Nazi headquarters, arrested. Peoples of all the triangles designated for thraldom and disposal in the camps where pink sank into the abyss, given the most arduous assignments, despised even by other prisoners, many driven to suicide, their SS slavers incited to new depths of depravity, all because our inner stops reverberated with chromatic notes. And mine, no doubt, would have been deftly snuffed, never to be resounded. Witness a curtain crashing down, our little song crushed by an ushered-in Götterdämmerung, hemorrhaging death and hate, a scene repeated over and over like a record needle stuck on Wagner's lyrical savagery. My forgotten sisters and brothers, revealed or hidden, self-aware or suppressed, we have always been here. But this time was different. You were convention shakers, mold breakers, trailblazers, and came the howling midnight claxons. You paid audacity's highest price, and, obliviated or not, were pitched with so many others into hell's waiting maw. Now here I am, comfortable, but for the unceasing etheric corral, awed, guilt-stained, grateful, scribbling. I shed lonely tears of pride, for before those fatal claxons, my sisterhood fought another war, invisible, soul deep, one I know well, a desperate sub rosa pas de Dieu, shame and hope whirling on the razor's edge, and all those decades ago hope flung aside the inherited, imposed, manly shroud, divine, feminine spiritus, finally dancing free like evanescent will-o'-the-wisps amidst a marsh. Turning, I sing out that your lives had value and meaning. I quiver with anger at the assassins who tormented and butchered you and others like us to this day. Horror-bound and uncomprehending, I weep for your suffering, a profound drop in a bitter, agonized ocean. May these few words be a memorial from one who, having seen it, cannot and will not forget, and who honors and exalts the hidden realm of the pink triangle. Thank you very much.
No, your mom don't get it, and your dad don't get it, Uncle John don't get it. And you can't tell Grandma 'cause her heart can't take it, and she might not make it. They say don't dare, don't you even go there, cutting off your long hair, you do as you're told. Tell you wake up, go put on your makeup, this is just a phase you're gonna outgrow. There's something wrong in the village, in the village. They stare in the village. There's nothing wrong with you. It's true, it's true. There's something wrong in the village. Feel the rumors follow you from Monday all the way to Friday dinner. You've got one day of shelter, then it's Sunday hell to pay your long lost sinner. Well, I've been there sitting in that same chair, whispering that same prayer 500,000 times. It's a lie though, buried in disciples. One page of the Bible isn't worth a life. There's something wrong in the village, in the village. They stare in the village. There's nothing wrong with you. It's true, it's true. There's something wrong in the village. There's something wrong in the village, in the village. They stare in the village. There's nothing wrong with you. It's true, it's true. There's something wrong with the village. There's something wrong in the village, in the village. They stare in the village. There's nothing wrong with you. It's true, it's true. There's something wrong with the village, with the village. There's something wrong with the village.
E.J. Boykin, 23-year-old trans male of color from Lynchburg, Virginia, died June 14th, 2021. Whispering Wind Bear Spirit, 41-year-old Indigenous non-binary person from York, Pennsylvania, died May 4th, 2021. Mel Groves, 25-year-old trans male of color from Jackson, Mississippi, died October 11th, 2021. Poe Black, 21-year-old Indigenous trans male from Niland, California, died May 11th, 2021. Samuel Edmund Damon Valentine, in his 20s, trans male from Trujillo Alto, Puerto Rico, died January 9th, 2021.
Joe Acker, 26-year-old trans woman from Boise, Idaho, died October 26, 2021. So Ella Zoe Rose Martinez, 20-year-old Latina trans woman from Maple Valley, Washington, died August 31st, 2021. Royal Poetical Stars, 26-year-old trans woman of color from Miami Gardens, Florida, died October 2nd, 2021. Remy Fennell, died in her 20s from Charlotte, North Carolina, passed away April 15th, 2021. Iris Santos, 22-year-old Latina trans woman from Houston, Texas, died April 23rd, 2021.
Siblings Jeffrey J.J. Bright and Jasmine Kennedy. Jeffrey was a 16-year-old trans male and Jasmine was a 22-year-old non-binary person. They were from Ambridge, Pennsylvania. Died February 22nd, 2021. Rihanna Pardo, 26-year-old Latina trans woman from Los Angeles, California, died March 17th, 2021. Jessie Hart, 42 years old, trans woman from Banks, Oregon, died October 17th, 2021. And Natalie Smoot, 24-year-old trans woman of color from Milpitas, California, died April 23rd, 2021.
Kiana Alexander, 28-year-old trans woman of color from Chicago, Illinois, died January 6, 2021. Bianca Muffin Banks, 30-year-old trans woman of color from Atlanta, Georgia, died January 29th, 2021. Dominique Jackson, 30-year-old trans woman of color from Jackson, Mississippi, died January 25th, 2021. 50 Bands, 21-year-old trans woman of color from Baton Rouge, Louisiana, died January 28th, 2021. China Carrillo, 25-year-old trans woman from New Wilmington, Pennsylvania, died February 18th, 2021.
Some of you may know me, some of you may not. My name is Sydney Rain Strahl, and that's intentional, it's by choice. I'm 54 years old. I was born in Kingston, Ontario. I've lived here in London for 16 interesting years. I have a 27-year-old son. I've also been widowed twice. My journey, as we all like to call it, started in 1967 on a military base in Kingston, Ontario. Not exactly the best place in the world for someone misgendered, cross-gendered, or however you want to term it. It made for a very rough childhood. My parents didn't understand. I didn't understand. But along the way, and 1,000,001 mistakes later, I found myself alone with no direction for the rest of my life. And I was in my 50s. I had to make a choice about what life would look like after that. I know some people have a plan or they have an idea of what's going to happen in their future. I didn't have a clue. And in a lot of ways, I still don't. But that's okay. When I was growing up, I think the first inclination that I ever had that I might have wanted to be a woman, I think came around 5 years old or 6 years old. It came with no relationship with my father, and it came with no idea, no link between masculinity and what I was supposed to be. That's tough, being firstborn in a Dutch family and military. I got picked on. I put myself into myself for safety, and I didn't have friends. I think I had 2 friends growing up, even the one girl that I really idolized, but that was more because I wanted to be her than I wanted to be with her. That was really hard. She didn't accept me. None of my friends really accepted me, and I stayed outside on the fringes and just kind of watched everybody else's life go forward. So down the road, through a relationship, I was with a woman for 7 years. I have life experiences as a cisgender male heterosexual man. A lot of years of that. I also have a friendship that lasted 27 years. And part of that friendship was as a gay man. But I always lived for the benefit of other people because I didn't have an identity of my own. Having an identity of your own is quintessential to living. You can't live without one. So after Colin passed in 2018, I had to discover what it was like to have an identity. That discovery process led me through some bad choices. I ended up homeless for quite some time. Let me tell you, London at Christmas in a tent while you're transitioning is not a really good idea. Trust me, because I've tried. I was in a homeless shelter. But while I was there, it allowed me time to really dig into who I was. And I met some absolutely wonderful people, especially myself. In the last 2 years during this pandemic, I have discovered more about who I am. Not what I am, but who I am and who I want to be than I ever have in any other part of my life. So, pandemic hasn't exactly been bad. I have to look at everything from a better point of view now. So, it's what you make it. Has nothing to do with anybody else. The transition, like the community, there's so much support there. And so many transgender people are isolated, whether it be from pandemic or pre-pandemic. They're isolated, they're alone, they feel like they can't talk to anybody. There's so many people you can reach out to, and it's just on the other end of an internet connection at any time of day or night. There are people here that will save your life, or at least show you a way to save your life. And I guess Colin passed away after a long time of illness in March of 2018. And I came out within that year. December 2018 is when I came out. I'd never even mentioned this to anyone, that I might think that I'm transgender. The only other time in my life that I met anyone transgender was when I was in jail in 1985. And I was a teenager back then. The justice system in the 80s was a brutal, brutal place for anyone transgender. I met Cindy Kavanaugh. Wow. Cindy Kavanaugh to this day remains somebody that I would absolutely love to see again. I tried to transition in a maximum security jail at 18 years old in Peterborough, Ontario. It's another epically bad idea, but I mean, you learn a lot from bad ideas. Cindy set aside herself and she told me about what life was like for a transgender woman in 1985, about how hard it was to get any kind of approval. People talk about gatekeeping now. You guys have no idea what gatekeeping was like back then, because you didn't have only the community, you also had the medical establishment fighting, because there just wasn't any place to have any of these surgeries done. Doctors had no idea or even wanted to know about what this was about. I mean, it was a bad time all around for anybody LGBTQS2I2S identified. Back then it was only LGB, pretty much that's it. But yeah, she really told me the bare facts, but she also gave me a lot of information about how to identify oneself as transgender or bisexual or just questioning. And she took that time. I will, for the rest of my life, be incredibly grateful for the time that she gave me. And I love her for that. That sentiment I try to carry through even now, because it's just gratitude. As simple as that. Yeah, I would absolutely love to meet Cindy Kavanaugh once again. I think that would be one hell of a conversation. After 2018, I had a home, an apartment I had my son living with me. I went through a terrible time with drugs of all kinds. Colin and I came here from Vancouver in 1984, trying to get him a new heart. He was diabetic. Well, the only place in Canada that they would even look at that was London Health Sciences. So we had to come here. I'm glad we did. I probably wouldn't be here now in this as I am. Otherwise, I wouldn't have met all the people that I've met. I wouldn't have the sisterhood that I feel every day. And I wouldn't be who I am. All of the things that I've gone through in my life, and there's been lots. I mean, I suffer from trauma. I have trauma responses. I have hope. And I'm healing myself. Part of that healing process is my transition. I'm currently doing the paperwork. I have OHIP approval for my surgery. So once I'm done that paperwork, then the waiting game for surgery date begins. I'm terribly excited and I'm terribly afraid. I've never had a surgery of any kind in my life. What the hell? Go big or go home, right? TDOR for me is a very somber day. There is a chance that Cindy Kavanaugh will be one of those names that I didn't get a chance to hear before I transitioned. I dread that, but I will accept it for what it is. There are so many people out there alone. And I know I keep hammering away at this because I know what it's like to be alone and feel alone. But that can be a choice too. You have to make the choice to be alone. There's places to reach out. You can reach out to me. My link will be on the end of this at some place, I'm quite sure. Well, if not, I'll make sure it is. This November 20th will be my 3rd year in full transition medically as well. And I'm still happy to be here and be a part of Trans London and part of the transgender community worldwide. I couldn't imagine being any other place in the world.
I'm not a stranger to the dark. Hide away, they say, 'cause we don't want your broken parts. I've learned to be ashamed of all my scars. Run away, they say, no one will love you as you are. But won't let them break me down to dust. I know that there's a place for us, for we are glorious. Sharpest words wanna cut me down. Gonna send a flood, gonna drown them out. I am brave, I am bruised, I am who I'm meant to be. This is me, look out, 'cause here I come. I'm marching on to the beat I drum. I'm not scared to be seen, make no apologies. This is me, oh, 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 oh. Another round of bullets hits my skin. Fire away, 'cause today I won't let the shame sink in. We are bursting through the barricades and reaching for the sun. We are warriors, yeah, that's what we'll become. I won't let them break me down to dust. I know that there's a place for us, for we are glorious. When the sharpest words wanna cut me down, gonna send a flood, gonna drown him out. I am brave, I am bruised, I am who I'm meant to be. This is me, look out, 'cause here I come. I'm marching on to the beat I drum. I'm not scared to be seen, I make no apologies. This is me, oh, oh, oh. Deserve your love. There's nothing I'm not worthy of. The sharpest words won't cut me down. I send a flood and drown him out. This is brave, this is bruised, this is who I'm meant to be. This is me, look out, 'cause here I come. And I'm marching on to the beat I drum. I'm not scared to be seen, make no apologies. This is me.